Hey, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Richard. I'll be showing you how one of our clients uses the program here to go ahead and help them run their everyday operation and kind of understanding when the issues are coming up and what they got to do today in order to really keep everything on track and make sure everything is okay. So, so this is a video on how a day-to-day operation might look like and what a company and organization might check to make sure everything is on track. So over here you have this is our home screen where it shows a list of everything you need to know if you're managing this operation. So this is a quick snapshot of how the organization is doing as a whole. Um, if your organization doesn't have any income or expenses, then this is not as relevant. It'll still display here. But otherwise, if you're running a CPR business, you definitely want to know your income, what are you netting, the number of your classes you have, and if you're having more students or less students. So this is just a snapshot of the past 30 days versus the past 60 days. So it's comparing the past 30 versus the previous 30 days. The next thing we would look at here, if I'm running this operation, is that the classes here. So this is the first thing I want to see. We really want to make sure that we're on top of all the classes that are happening and make sure that everything runs smoothly and the instructors are able to do what they need to do. So right here we have incomplete instructor checkout. This is basically letting me know that, hey, these are instructors who have started this class or are supposed to have run this class, but they haven't quite checked out yet. Checked out for us means that they've completed the roster. They've put in a number of adult, child, and infant mannequin that are used, and that whether students has passed or fail, and even the e-codes that they have assigned when we're issuing the HA e-cards. So this is telling us that 3 of these classes here are having some issues, and we got to go in there and take a look at it later. Over here, we have 13 pending verification roster. This is telling us that all of these classes here require us to go in there and just manually double check and make sure everything is okay. So we're going to come back to this later. This is the core of what we do. And once everything is okay, we can either choose to save it, or we can either choose to save it and send an email to someone, whether it be an instructor or another organization or training center that's overlooking all of our roster and evaluations. Over here, we have kind of a day-to-day operational forecast of how everything is coming up. So what we have here is that we're checking to make sure that there are no overlapping classes at the same location. So for example, over here we have a BLS instructor class that is coming up on April 22nd from 9 to 6:30. At the same time, we have a BLS class that is from 3 to 6:30. Now we're using this as a roster to track the number of students who also need a BLS card that we're going to issue during the instructor class. So in this case, it's not so much that there is actually an issue. This is just telling us that, hey, there's possibly an issue. Maybe someone needs to take a look at this and manage this. So in this case, we're okay, but I'm glad that it's telling us there is this possible issue. Overlapping instructor, this is the same thing where we have 2 classes here that is by the same instructor, where the same instructor is both teaching the instructor class as well as the BLS class. Once again, this is just a roster, like quote unquote ghost roster that we have for the BLS class, to keep track of the students in here that we're issuing the BLS card for those who are in the instructor class. But once again, it's letting us know that, hey, if an instructor is assigned to 2 different classes on the same time/date, then we definitely want to know and be able to take proactive action before that happens. Insufficient instructors, here's kind of interesting where sometimes we would have a bigger class. Let's just say this class has 32 students and we only have 2 instructors assigned to it. Well, as you already know, the instructor ratio is off in that case. So what this is actually tracking for us is making sure that we actually have enough instructors for each of the specific class, depending upon the number of students that's already signed up. So this might change today versus tomorrow, depending upon the class size we have opened up and the number of students who have signed up versus the number of instructors who are assigned to teach that. Once again, it allows us to be proactive about it and make sure that we have enough instructors to meet the instructor to student ratio. Lastly here is that we want to make sure that over the next 2 days, if there are any classes where we might be running at a loss, this means that maybe there's not enough students. So in this case, it would let us know. So if we need to cancel a class or maybe have more students sign up for that class, we would know it right away. So these are things that allows us to be able to stay on top of auto roster management, instructor management, student management. So this is kind of the first thing we check when we come into the office the first day. The second thing we do here is that we take a look at the refund. So once in a while, an instructor or a student might request that they they have a refund for the course itself or possibly a textbook itself. So in this case, what it's allowing us to do is that the instructor or the student might enter a request for a refund, and instructors and students cannot automatically receive a refund. Audit requests must go back up to the admin level. So in this case, as an admin, I can see that this student has requested for a refund. I can go ahead and come here and click approve or decline on this refund, and the system will take care of the rest for this. So this is kind of makes it a little bit easier for the admin to know what's happening and have control over the day-to-day activities. For class sign up and students or instructor paying for a student, that doesn't require any admin input. It's simply any refund would require admin to approve or deny that request. The next thing we check here is an inventory alert. Where under this inventory alert, we're really checking to make sure that we have enough inventory here. So for example, we're checking to make sure that the e-textbook there's enough of here. The alert here is 30, 10, 5, and 10. This is allowing us to see like when we're completely out of books and we need to purchase more and upload more in here. So in this case, we're definitely running low on a lot of the items and we definitely need to reorder. So we're getting an alert of 4 out of 4 that we see on here. Oversold textbook is that a student might have signed up for a class. However, they did not receive a textbook because, as you can tell, we are at 0. So all of these students need to be sent a book. So what we can come up here, once we load the ebooks up here, we can go ahead and come back here and take action and basically issue them an ebook. So this is one way that we're tracking and making sure that nothing slips through the crack. And if you're a company that has physical textbook, you can also track the physical textbook in this page as well. And lastly, what we have here is that typically the instructor training process with all the paperwork, that tends to be a mess. So what we have here is we really want to make sure that we're on top of all the incoming and current instructors. So for example, we want to go ahead and track every instructor with an expiration date. So if there's any uploadable certificates, for example, the BLS certificate, the Heartsaver certificate, the instructor certificate, they all have an expiration date. So because they have an expiration date, the system will ask the person uploading that document to input an expiration date. So this is how it allows our system to track all expiration dates and throw a warning over here. So for example, we can click on certificates expired now. So these are the people that certificate have expired now. You can see those that have one or more documents that are expired. So in here, you can message them, be like, hey, we noticed that your certificate has expired now. I'm sorry, you cannot be teaching any more classes anymore. Please come in and do an in-service and retake or re-get these certificates. We over here have pending submissions. So in this case, we have people here that are pending submissions. So these are people that have taken an instructor course, everything is ready to go. Just for some reason, our admin hasn't gone through these paperwork and submitted or saved it and processed the instructor certificate. And lastly here is that perhaps you might have different people doing different things. So on here, you would have instructor candidates who have done everything, all the paperwork is done, but perhaps there's another person who actually double check and verifies all this information and the certificate has not been uploaded back to the system. So this is kind of where it tells us the number of instructors here, the days that are pending, and if we need a message to note the instructor or edit any files that they have. So this is more or less how we get a snapshot of everything that is happening in a company.